Hello, hello! This is Gemini, your friendly neighborhood spy. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the second episode of my series about strong women in the Fire Emblem series. Last time, I discussed 5 different characters, all from different FE games, and talked about their convictions and heroic accomplishments. I mentioned in the first video that I had a much longer list of female characters that I also wanted to talk about, so today we're back with 5 more strong women from the Fire Emblem series. If you didn't get a chance to check out the first episode, then I encourage you to do so. Just like in the first episode, I'll be discussing these characters only in regards to their writing. I'm not considering their usefulness as units whatsoever. I'll be talking about various traits that make these women strong and heroic, including their skills as leaders, their heroic deeds and accomplishments, special skills, and the convictions that drive them. Also, like in the first video, I would like to make a few things clear. These characters are in no way being ranked, not against each other nor against other female characters in the series. There are many strong characters all throughout Fire Emblem, and I want to use these videos to recognize them and their accomplishments, not to pit them against each other. All of that said, let's begin with our first character for today. We'll be starting off with a character from Fire Emblem's latest entry, beginning with Princess Deira, the warrior princess from Solm. Solm is a desert nation where freedom is valued above all else. As the Queendom's princess, Deira loves camping out in the desert alongside her trusted retainers. Together they lounge in the sands, cook delicious food, and make a whole lot of noise, drawing the attention of every bandit around for miles. They lure such ruffians to them, take them on in battle, and send them fleeing far away from the innocent citizens of their country. You know, normal camping stuff. Deira is on one such camping trip when the Divine Dragon and their retinue come looking for her and for the emblem ring she possesses. Although her introduction initially presents Deira as a courageous, yet ultimately goofy and reckless warrior, the truth is soon revealed after, and takes us back to events from before Alir's company arrived in Solm. You see, as much as Deira likes to eat meat and sing her heart out, she takes her role as the future leader of Solm extremely seriously, and has been hard at work protecting the Queendom alongside her brother and her mom, the Queen. All the way back when the Corrupted first began their attacks across the continent of Elyos, Princess Deira was aware of the problem and was already moving to counter the Fell Dragon. Solm agents placed in the 3 other countries informed her of the attacks. Lacking the ability to summon the power of the emblem rings, Deira knew that her country wasn't in a position to go on the offensive. Rather, she and Queen Sephoria, who also deserves a shout-out, focused on shoring up their national defenses to ensure that their people wouldn't be overrun by the Corrupted. However, knowing that there was a possibility that the Divine Dragon could appear, Deira and her family planned for that as well. Queen Sephoria remained in the castle to keep an eye on the capital, Prince Fagato searched for anyone claiming to be the Divine Dragon, and Princess Deira roamed the nation, carrying and protecting the ring of the Radiant Hero to ensure its safety for when the Divine Dragon arrived. While Deira is garbed in bright and playful colors and puts on a light-hearted, fun-loving persona, don't let that fool you. In reality, she is a careful planner and strategist who works tirelessly in service to the protection of her queendom. After she confirms the identity of the Divine Dragon, Deira fights alongside Alir as one of her most trusted allies. She is renowned for her skill as a lance-wielding warrior, and she fights fiercely in the battle to save Elyos from the destructive might of the Fell Dragon Sombron. None of that is to say that Deira's free-spirited charm is just an act. She truly is a fun-loving and adventurous young warrior who lives life by throwing her whole self into the things she loves, not worrying about what other people might think. Princess Deira is well known for her voracious love of meat, riding wolves all night long, camping in the desert, and singing so loudly and terribly that her people have given her the nickname the Racket of Solm. Her friendly and upbeat nature has a positive impact on the people closest to her as well. Take her retainers, Marin and Panette, for example. Marin dreamed of becoming a knight, but had been chosen to inherit her mother's place as their village's matriarch. When she ran away, she found Deira out fighting bandits one night and leapt into the fray to help her. Marin didn't even realize that Deira was a real princess until she had already granted Marin her dream, naming her as a knight in her service. On the other hand, Panette struggled with controlling her rage. Her friendship with Deira helped her to realize that she didn't want to spend her life consumed with bitter resentment. She is deeply grateful to Deira for helping her to refocus her anger in a more positive way. Though Deira reminds her that, ultimately, the changes Panette made were by her own will, and she refuses to take all of the credit for that. In life, Princess Deira walks a delicate balance between fun and duty with masterful expertise. She knows how to find the joy in all that she does, but she takes her responsibilities as a future ruler seriously. Not only is she a powerful warrior, cunning planner, and a scourge to every bandit who sets foot within Solm's borders, she is also a cheerful friend who inspires the people close to her. She shows us that even in the most dire situations, when we feel as if the weight of the world rests on our shoulders, we can't let that stop us from having a good time. The next character we'll be discussing today is Avel, the motherly warrior of Fianna. So strap in, there's a lot of story here to tell. Avel was one of the 2 girls born to Duke Ring of Granville. She was named Bridget, and she and her sister Edain lived as noble ladies alongside their brother Andre. However, tragedy soon struck the family when Duke Ring brought his children on a pilgrimage to Broggy Tower. Their ship was attacked by the Orga Hill pirates, and though this particular band of pirates was less ruthless than other criminal groups, the Duke's ship was badly damaged and in danger of sinking. He was able to rescue Edain and Andre, but couldn't find Bridget. The family was forced to accept their loss and move on. However, Bridget did not sink in the ship. At 5 years old, the young noble girl was found by the leader of the Orga Hill pirates, and he chose to keep her and raise her as his own daughter. Growing up with the pirates, Bridget took easily to archery, almost like she was meant to hold a bow. She adopted her new father's ideals. Though he was a pirate, he refused to prey on innocent villagers and even protected other ships from pirates in exchange for payments. Bridget took his principles seriously, and continued them after his death, when she ascended to the role of leader in their pirate gang. Unfortunately, as war brews between the nations of Granville and Augustria, the Orga Hill pirates are tempted by the lure of the unguarded coastal villages. Though Bridget holds strong in her ideals and refuses to give in to that temptation, one of her subordinates manages to raise a mutiny against her by revealing that she was not truly their former leader's daughter. Ousted from her crew, Bridget is forced to flee and fight her former allies to survive. She manages to hold out on her own long enough that Lord Sigurd of Granville arrives with aid, and together they finish off the mutinous pirates. Amazingly, the priestess Edain, Bridget's long-lost twin sister, was traveling as a member of Sigurd's retinue, and the 2 are finally reunited. Having been separated from her family at such a young age, Bridget doesn't recognize her sister. However, Edain then presents her with Ufal, the holy bow passed down through their family, and the moment Bridget holds the weapon, her childhood memories rush back, and she is among family once more. The Ufal bow, however, is more than just a family heirloom. It was originally wielded by the crusader Olir, and was blessed by a divine dragon. As a direct descendant of Olir, and the inheritor of her holy blood, Bridget alone is able to wield the mighty Ufal in battle. With new purpose, she joins Sigurd's cause as a powerful ally. Much happens in the fights that await her. It isn't long before Bridget and her sister discover that their brother Andre was the one responsible for their father's assassination, that he has become a traitor to Granville. Bridget doesn't hesitate to strike down her brother and avenge her father's death. Also during this time, Bridget falls in love. During a respite from Sigurd's campaign, she gives birth to 2 children, a boy and a girl named Fabale and Patty. Now, all of that may sound like a lot already, but we're only just getting started. To say that things take a turn for the worse is putting it mildly. During the infamous Battle of Belhalla, Lord Sigurd is betrayed, and his army is devastated by a concentrated blast of fire magic. Sigurd himself and many of his closest allies are killed. Bridget survives the onslaught, but at a great cost. The people of the coastal town of Fianna soon discover a woman washed up upon their shores. While Bridget survives the battle, she awakes in an unfamiliar place with no memory of her life so far. However, this incredible setback does little to dissuade her from living a full life. She names herself Avel, and, with no memory of her own archery skills, takes up the sword in defense of Fianna, her new home. In quick time, she earns the trust of the villagers by liberating them from the threats of a local group of bandits. She founds a militia group called the Freeblades of Fianna, and is chosen by the village to be their leader. As if some part of her still remembers the ideals she held so dear as Bridget, Avel works tirelessly to protect those who need her. When she encounters a young girl named Marita, who has been chained and will be sold into slavery, Avel flies into a furious rage and proceeds to murder the guards and the slavers. Not only does she rescue Marita from her captors, but she adopts the young girl and takes her in as her own daughter, raising her and training her in the use of the sword so she can protect herself. Avel's exploits in protecting those in need doesn't stop there either. There comes a day when two children, Leif and Nanna, arrive in Fianna with the injured body of their protector, Finn. Avel has no idea that these are the children and allies of her former companions in Sigurd's army, but she grants them her love and protection anyway. She senses that their hardships may not be so different from those that she has suffered in the past, and she takes them in as her children as well. Because of Avel, Leif and Nanna are granted a home, safety, and the chance to study the sword. However, peace does not last for Avel's growing family. Nanna and Marita are captured by Lord Raedric of Munster, and Leif and Avel immediately set out to rescue them. When they confront Raedric, he uses Nanna as a hostage, forcing Leif to surrender. When Avel sees that Leif has been captured, she intentionally surrenders in the hope that she may be able to do something to keep him safe. With Avel as a prisoner, Raedric assures her that she will see her daughter Marita soon. But being the sensationalist evildoer that he is, Raedric fulfills his promise in the most cruelly theatrical way imaginable. Avel is thrown into an arena alongside Nanna, where Raedric sends waves of soldiers to attack them. Avel, peerless warrior that she is, holds off the attackers all the while protecting Nanna. However, Raedric soon delivers a nefarious twist to the already cruel arrangement. Marita herself enters the arena, wielding a cursed blade which has warped her mind and driven her mad, making her seek to kill any person who appears before her. And who should appear before her then but her own mother, Avel. Avel tries to get through to Marita, but the sword's power is too strong. Though Marita battles from within and is able to hold herself back, she can't break through its control entirely. Desperate to save her daughter, Avel continues to fight, holding off the other warriors as she tries to get through to Marita. Hope arrives in the form of Prince Leif, who is broken free from the dungeon and arrives with an armed retinue to liberate Avel, Nanna, and Marita. As the tide of battle turns in their favor, Avel is prepared to visit her wrath upon Raedric and his soldiers. Raedric panics and commands all the soldiers to attack them at once, but Veld, a dark bishop of the Loptir Church, steps in instead. He uses rare and powerful dark magic to capture Avel and turn her to stone. Their most dangerous foe disabled, Veld and Raedric flee with Marita, leaving Leif to mourn the loss of his teacher. Just as he flees the castle, he swears that he will return when he is stronger. He will come back for her. Avel's petrified form is moved to a secret building owned by the Loptir Church where she waits, unaware of what has been done to her. But the bond that she formed with the people of Fianna, with all the children that she took in and treated as her own, is ultimately her salvation. Leif and his army face tremendous ordeals, but they never forget about Avel. And finally, they discover a way to restore her. They receive the help of a mysterious girl named Sarah, who has the unique ability to wield the powerful Kia staff, which can free a person who has been petrified with magic. When Avel is restored to normal, she is swarmed by the people she protected and cared for. Leif and Nanna rush to tell her how much she means to them, how they view her as a mother and are so glad to have her back. Marita is overcome with emotion at finally having Avel return to her, and Avel speaks with each of them with the same love and care she has always shown them. At last, her family is complete once more. Avel rejoins Leif's fight as his army prepares for their final battle together. When victory is finally achieved and Munster is liberated, Leif continues onwards to join up with his cousin Seliph and lend him his aid. But this is where he and Avel part ways. Rather than joining Leif, she chooses to return to Fianna, to the home she loves, where the villagers still depend on her even in times of peace. However, one final surprise awaits Avel. Years later, the magic which suppressed her memories of her life as Bridget wears away, and at last she remembers everything. Finally, Bridget is able to reunite with Fabale and Patty, and the joyous event is immortalized in a song. Avel's story is long and complex, full of loss and hardship. Nevertheless, she never stops fighting and never gives up her ideals. She is a woman that uses her tremendous strength to protect the people around her and loves them like family. And in turn, they care for her and come to her aid when she needs them most. She's a mighty warrior with either a bow or a sword in her hands, but her true strength lies in the community she has forged for herself. To quote Brandon Sanderson, "If you want to create heroes, don't give them something to fight for, give them someone to fight for." The third character I'll be discussing today is Nyla, the warrior queen of the Wolf tribe in Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. On the continent of Talius, a race of people exists called the Laguz. Unlike their Beorc, impolitely referred to as humans, counterparts, Laguz have animal features and can turn into ferocious beast warriors at will. While Beorc rulers inherit their thrones through a line of succession, the Laguz do things differently. Among the Laguz, only the strongest are permitted to rule. Enter Nyla, queen of the Wolf tribe in the nation of Atari, located east across the desert. For the most part, the characters I've been talking about throughout this series are noted for their compassion and convictions, but Nyla is just plain hardcore. Everything from her design to her attitude speaks to her confidence, prowess, and sheer power. Nyla first appears in Radiant Dawn when she is traveling to the nation of Gallia alongside her lover, a heron named Raphael, and Velug, one of her devoted servants. She encounters Micaiah and decides to travel alongside her group, since she is not familiar with these realms and isn't sure of the way. While she doesn't aid in Micaiah's battles immediately as she is trying to keep a low profile, she does eventually join the fight as an unstoppable force of power. As a Laguz queen, Nyla possesses the ability to transform into her beast form at will and remain in it as long as she wants. Once she joins Micaiah's fight, the tide immediately turns in their favor. Additionally, Nyla has another unique ability. One of her eyes is known as her Evil Eye, and allows her to petrify her foes in battle. That's why she wears an eye patch, not because of an injury, but to keep the people around her safe from her own power. Throughout Radiant Dawn's story, Nyla fights alongside both Micaiah's Dawn Brigade and Ike's Grail mercenaries. If Micaiah convinces her to rejoin the Dawn Brigade, Nyla truly shows off her love of a challenge. She is eager to fight any powerful foe that stands before her, challenging Ronald, Filiana, and Jill to battle without a second thought. She even tells the Hawk King Tibarn that she plans to add his feathers to her necklace, and says that Commander Ike is strong for a Beorc. Nyla is a warrior through and through, and doesn't take any of these fights personally. She longs to face any foe that can give her a decent challenge. In the final battle against Ashira, Nyla fights courageously to rescue those that have been turned into stone. For all her battle thirst and power, she is not without conscience or concern for others. First of all, she adores Raphael, and is supportive in his desire to return to his homeland. The desert between her homeland of Atari and the western Talius nations is known as the Desert of Death, and no one is known to have crossed it and lived. However, Nyla is willing to embark on the task to ensure that Raphael is able to see his homeland again. Nyla also cares about her countrymen, and after Ashira's defeat, makes the decision to migrate her people to Gallia to ensure their safety. Nyla is a character who represents an undeniable but primal form of strength. She is a warrior to her core, and her strength earns her the respect of her fellow Laguz warriors. She is blunt, fierce, and proud, but she is also protective towards those close to her. Any who choose to stand in the way of the mighty Wolf Queen better be prepared for one heck of a fight. The next hero on today's agenda is May, the energetic mage from Gaiden and Shadows of Valentia. Hailing from a small fishing village in the nation of Zofia, May is a young woman who grew up studying magic alongside her dearest friend Celica and her eternal rival Bowie. They may have lived their lives in peace together, except there comes the day when the king of Zofia passes away and Celica, concerned about the ever-increasing hardships in her beloved homeland, sets out on a pilgrimage to learn what has become of the goddess Mila. May, ever the loyal friend, immediately proclaims her intention to join Celica on her quest. May's magical abilities are a force to be reckoned with. She wields an impressive array of offensive spells ranging from elemental strikes to bursts of holy energy that send undead terrors fleeing back into their graves. However, her personality may be even more powerful than her magic. Mei possesses incredible confidence in her magical prowess, and is practically fearless in the face of battle. When Bowie also decides to accompany her and Celica on their journey, Mei has no problem reminding him that she is the more powerful mage, and that they don't need his protection. Though that may seem harsh, she and Bowie have fostered a mighty rivalry, and Bowie meets her verbal jabs with counterstrikes of his own. Their bickering is entirely friendly, as the two actually care about each other a lot. Mei's confidence in her own strengths and her cheerful resilience to each of Bowie's counterattacks is a clear indicator that she is genuinely comfortable with who she is and with what she can do. Additionally, her courage in the face of terrifying foes is truly impressive. While Bowie is afraid to fight the monsters known as terrors, Mei has no such reservations. By Act 4, they have fought continuously more powerful undead creatures and have improved their own arcane abilities. When Bowie is still afraid, Mei confronts him about it. They should be getting used to all of this after all, and Bowie acknowledges that she's right. That is, until Mei cheerfully points out that their next battle is full of necrodragons, a fact that doesn't seem to faze her at all. Mei is also a plain-spoken and loyal friend. She remains by Celica's side no matter what. Though her forthright honesty may occasionally come across as insensitive, it also allows Mei to give Celica unfiltered advice that truly comes from the heart. When Celica is confronted by the loss of Mila and the falchion blade, told that sacrificing her own soul is the only hope to restore peace to the realm, Mei doesn't hold back, telling her that it's a terrible idea and pleading with her not to go through with it. Celica unfortunately doesn't listen to her friend. Nevertheless, after Celica has been rescued and they are at last reunited, Mei is just happy to have her bestie back at her side. When they move on to the final battle against the god Duma, Mei stands ready to fight. Many of her companions are looking ahead, at a future where their world will no longer bend to the will of the gods. But Mei has a more simple motivator urging her forward. Duma and his servants hurt her friend, and that's all the reason she needs to risk everything in the final battle. Despite her courage and confidence, Mei does have moments of vulnerability as well. In her support conversations with Celica, she hypothetically confesses to have feelings for a certain mage they both know, and worries that he may only see her as a rival. She and Celica talk it over, and after some reflection, Mei realizes that the most important thing is that she continues to be herself. She understands that she can't change who she is just to make someone else happy. It's a nice moment of support between her and her friend, with both of them building each other up and supporting each other through hardships big and small. Of course, whatever hypothetical feelings Mei has are eventually proven to be reciprocated. Following the defeat of Duma, Mei and Bowie return to their lives of peace and start a family together. Though they could have gone on to live with Celica in her castle, they ultimately decide that the village where they grew up is the only home they need. Their bickering continues even after their marriage, and the two of them couldn't be happier. Mei's character represents the importance of the connections we form in life. She's rarely bothered by high-minded ideals. Mei loves her friends and will face any danger for their sake. She is a somewhat goofy character with an upbeat personality and impressive raw talent as a mage. However, her courage and loyalty are the driving forces that see her through her perilous adventure. Mei never falters in her support for her loved ones. And I think that unwavering sense of purpose is a significant part of why she's always so happy. As long as Mei has her friends, and her cherished rival, she doesn't need riches and palaces. She's happy being herself with the people she loves. For the final hero of today's presentation, we'll be discussing the unyielding idealist of the Western Isles, Akida from the Binding Blade. Off the western coast of the mighty nation of Etruria resides 3 islands, rich in minerals and natural resources. These islands, known as Fibernia, Dia, and Caledonia, are Etrurian colonies, but they have suffered tremendously under Etrurian rule. Not only do the island's resources make them a prime target for bandits and pirates, but the Etrurian nobles charged with their oversight have been corrupted by greed, allowing the bandits to plunder the local villages in exchange for a cut of the spoils and forcing the citizens to work themselves to death in the mines. Life is hard for the people of the Western Islands, caught between the greed of two factions working together to wring them dry. But all hope is not lost. A resistance group has risen out of the suffering of the people, united under the leadership and vision of one woman, the hero Akida. Famed for her martial prowess, Akida is arguably one of the most driven characters in all of Fire Emblem. Though she doesn't share much about her personal life from before the Resistance, she pursues her goal of liberating the Western Isles with unflagging devotion. Akida is first introduced in Chapter 11a, Hero of the West, in which she is hiding out from Etrurian soldiers in one of the villages. By torturing a member of her rebel organization and threatening his family, the soldiers have determined where she's hiding and come to capture her. Though they remind her that their leader may be merciful if she surrenders herself, Akida has no intention of going quietly. She promises her tortured ally that she doesn't blame him for giving up her location, and then turns to fight the corrupt soldiers without hesitation. When she learns from Larum that the Lycian noble Roy is sympathetic to her cause, she is quick to join up with his army and help defeat the nobles and bandits that are ruining life for the people of the Western Isles. Even beyond that, Akida stays with Roy's army through the remainder of his fights, proving herself to be a valuable ally in the battle to save Alib from King Zephiel's machinations. However, Akida's true goal remains forefront in her mind throughout the adventure. In Fire Emblem Heroes, she says, "Imagine it, a free village accepting of everyone. My dream is to make that a reality." Throughout her support conversations in the Binding Blade, Akida's determination is obvious. When she speaks with the brothers Wade and Lot, she immediately recognizes them as being from the Western Isles. From their faces, she tells them. She wastes no time in trying to recruit them to the cause to come and help her build her free and open village on the islands. Similarly, when she learns that Geese can steer a ship, right away she seeks to secure his help with carrying everyone across the water to their new home. When Akida's fight against Spurn is finally won, she returns to the Western Isles, ready to resume the pursuit of her goal. She was a woman who dreamed of creating a village where all would be welcome and equal. Well, in the end, she doesn't create a village. Rather, she unites the whole of the Western Isles in a new nation known as the Western Union. While we as the player never get to see the full fruits of her efforts, I can only imagine that this new country is a place where the people live free from the shadow of oppression. Known as the hero of the Western Isles, Akida is famed for her strength as a warrior. She sweeps through the battlefield, armed with her mighty axe, refusing to give in. Even stronger, however, is the strength of her dreams and her ideals. Akida represents the importance of not waiting for someone else to do what's right. She saw the suffering of the people around her and took a stand against it. In the end, her tireless dedication brought liberation to the oppressed and hope to the hopeless. She truly is the hero of the Western Isles. And that's it for today's discussion of strong women from the Fire Emblem series. I want to take a moment to thank everyone that watched, liked, and commented on the first episode in this series. Your support and kindness means a lot to me. I love talking about the characters from Fire Emblem, and I will absolutely be continuing this series. I have some other series ideas that I'd like to try as well, so if you are interested in more Fire Emblem analysis or general Fire Emblem hero silliness, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It really helps out a lot. That's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, take care, have a wonderful day, and Gemini out.